Hey, aren't you Nagato? Long time no see. Shimomatsu, how long has it been? It really has been a while. Someone called out to me from behind, but I knew who it was right away. It was a familiar voice I used to hear every day. My name is Hiroki Nagato, 35 years old. The one who called out to me is Shimomatsu. We've been close friends since elementary, junior high, and high school for 12 years. But lately, we've both been busy, and even though we use the same station, we haven't seen each other for a few years. Still taking pictures of buildings, I see. I can't relax unless I do. By the way, Nagato, have you got a girlfriend? I haven't had one for 5 years now. Same here. I don't have any chances to meet anyone. Lately, I've been especially busy with the upcoming completion of a new project, and I've even forgotten that I haven't met any women. But it was surprising that even Shimomatsu, who graduated from Japan's most prestigious tea university, has no luck with women. Well, I have a group blind date this weekend. Would you like to come? Some girls from my university are bringing their friends. You know I'm not good at those kind of things. Don't say that, please. The guy who was originally supposed to go had to go on a business trip suddenly. I see. But I feel intimidated by someone like you who went to a top university. It's fate that we met here. Think of it as helping a friend in need. We don't have enough people. Okay, I'll go, so raise your head. So, for the sake of my friend Shimomatsu, I reluctantly decided to participate in the group blind date. One man and one woman were absent, and it ended up being 2-on-2. Sorry I'm late. Madoka, long time no see. This is Madoka Mine. This is my close friend, Hiroki Nagato.
It's been a while, Shimomatsu-senpai. Nagato-san, nice to meet you. This is my former colleague, Yuzuki Aragaseki.
I'm Nagato. Nice to meet you.
I'm Yuzuki. Nice to meet you.
Cheers! Lately, I've been spending my nights drinking canned beer in front of my computer at home. It's been a while since I've met people and had drinks outside like this. I wasn't really looking forward to the group blind date, but thanks to Shimomatsu and Madoka talking a lot, I was able to relax quickly. I met Madoka at a welcome party for new students who were alumni of the tennis club. Back then, she was really like a girl from the countryside.
Well, I couldn't help it. I had just moved to Tokyo. Senpai, please forget about the past.
Shimomatsu and Madoka seemed to be really close, but as for her friend, Yuzuki, rather than enjoying herself, Yuzuki gave Shimomatsu and Madoka a cold look, and then she stared at me as if she were sizing me up.
This isn't a reunion, so it's annoying when you two are the only ones having fun.
Well, I guess it can't be helped if they're talking about old times, since it's been a while since they've seen each other.
I came because Madoka said she'd introduce me to a senior from T University. Nagato-san, was it? Where did you graduate from?
Well, I graduated from high school and started working, and then I went to a correspondence university because of my qualifications.
Huh? Correspondence?
Since I was working, I could only go to a correspondence school.
Correspondence? There's no strict entrance exam, just document screening and an interview, right? Can you even call that a university graduate? I couldn't get into T University, but I went to K University. It's embarrassing to have a lower educational background than a woman. Let me tell you, I didn't decide that academic background is important. The world decided it. At my father's company where I work now, of course, there are only excellent university graduates. Correspondence school is out of the question.
I could have predicted this kind of development, and I'm already used to it. It's true that the world values academic background, and I have no intention of arguing.
Yuzuki, what are you saying? That's rude, isn't it? What? What's wrong with telling the truth?
Even if you're Madoka's friend, I can't overlook that kind of remark. Academic background isn't everything, and Nagato has his own circumstances. It's okay, Shimomatsu. I made my decision.
See? You can't even argue. That's what happens when you're an uneducated man who ran away from tough entrance exams. It's not my fault.
The awkward atmosphere couldn't be easily restored, and the group blind date ended up disbanding. Sorry about that. I didn't think Madoka would bring a woman like that. No, Madoka defended me. I'm used to people talking about my education, so don't worry about it. Even so, that woman Yuzuki doesn't even know the circumstances. Then, I heard footsteps running after us from behind.
Senpai, Nagato-san, please wait.
When I looked back, there was Madoka, out of breath. Madoka said she really wanted to apologize, so I suggested we go for another drink, just the three of us, at a different place.
I'm really sorry for what my friend said earlier. It was rude.
It's okay, I don't mind. Did you go out of your way to chase after us just for that?
Yes, I couldn't just go home like that. Yuzuki and I were colleagues at my previous company, a construction company run by her father.
According to Madoka, she couldn't keep up with Yuzuki's excessive pride and had lost touch with her after changing jobs. But recently, Yuzuki kept contacting her to introduce her to a man who graduated from T University, so she reluctantly set up today's group blind date.
I thought she would have calmed down a bit since it's been a while since I've seen her, but she's gotten even more arrogant. I'm really sorry.
So that's what happened. Madoka, I thought you might have thought that I like that kind of woman. Maybe she's not so bad? Hey, Nagato! Come outside for a sec! After that, by talking slowly, I got to know Madoka's personality. After quitting the construction company, she works for a travel agency, and also participates in local environmental protection activities. I gradually became attracted to Madoka. Meanwhile, Yuzuki, who had said whatever she wanted to me, was reporting on the drinking party to her father at home.
Listen, Dad. At the T University alumni mixer today, there was a guy who graduated from a correspondence university. It was awful.
Correspondence? A man's worth is based on how much he earns. A correspondence university graduate probably doesn't have a decent job.
I'm sure of it, but don't worry. I wouldn't get involved with a low-educated man.
But there are exceptions, like the architectural designer Nagato. There's a ceremony coming up. Let's go together.
Nagato? That's the same name as the guy from earlier. Well, it's a coincidence, I guess. It's nothing to worry about.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for waiting. We're about to begin the opening ceremony for the new art museum, themed around coexistence with nature.
1 month later, Mr. Arakasegi and his daughter were at an art museum. A large number of invited guests were gathered there.
Wow, there are a lot of people. Is this museum that popular?
It's a collaboration between an up-and-coming designer and 5 major construction companies. We're barely managing to get a small part of the exterior work.
It's amazing that you were even able to get involved, Dad. It'll improve the company's image.
That's right. Even if it doesn't bring in much money, we have to do these kinds of showy jobs.
Now let's welcome Mr. Hiroki Nagato, the designer of this museum.
Huh? No way!
That's the Hiroki Nagato I was talking about the other day.
How can this be? He's a correspondence university graduate, but he's such a famous architectural designer.
If our company could get a direct contract with Mr. Nagato's office, we would make an unbelievable amount of money.
Mr. Nagato, thank you for your hard work. Coexistence with nature. That was a great speech.
Thank you. I plan to further accelerate the theme of coexistence with nature in the future.
Was there something that inspired you?
Yes, I had a good encounter recently. I'd always considered myself more aware of the various impacts of architecture on the natural environment than other designers. That feeling was being further amplified by my recent encounter with Madoka. Mr. Nagato, nice to meet you. I'm Arakasegi, president of Arakasegi Construction. I wanted to greet you. Ah, you're the president of Arakasugi Construction. Oh, you know about my company? That's an honor. Of course, you're a famous construction company. Your daughter's name is Yuzuki, right? I happened to meet her the other day. What? Why didn't she tell me such an important thing? Hey, Yuzuki, come here! Called by her father, Yuzuki appeared from the crowd. She looked a little pale and extremely awkward.
Well, I'm Yuzuki. My father is very grateful for your work.
Don't be so formal. We've had drinks together, haven't we? Well, I wasn't aware of such a relationship. I'm so sorry. Hey, Yuzuki, greet him properly. Hey, where are you going? Perhaps because she felt too uncomfortable, Yuzuki ran away from the scene. A few days after the mixer, I came to have lunch with Madoka, whom I had been seeing frequently.
Wow, so that's what happened at the museum ceremony.
I might have been a bit too sarcastic.
But just a little, right? It wasn't enough. It's outrageous to be called uneducated without knowing the circumstances.
Only university graduates are eligible to take the first-class architect exam, and since I started working at my father's architectural firm, correspondence school was my only option.
The prejudice against correspondence university graduates never goes away. But it's amazing that you studied while working and passed the first-class architect exam.
Thank you. So you said on the phone that you had something to discuss today. I'll listen if you'd like.
About that. It's actually about Arakasugi Construction.
I listened to Madoka talk about the hidden circumstances of her former workplace, Arakasugi Construction, and a certain incident that had occurred recently. At first, I intended to just listen to Madoka's worries, but the content was far from something I could overlook. For Madoka, who tearfully told me the truth, I promised to help her. Meanwhile, a heated argument was taking place between father and daughter in the living room of the Arakasugi house. Why didn't you tell me you met Mr. Nagato? And what's with running away like that?
It's not my fault. It's your fault, Dad. You taught me that academic background is everything, so it's been ingrained in me.
I told you there are exceptions. You didn't say anything rude to Mr. Nagato, did you?
I did. I said it was embarrassing to have a low education. It couldn't be helped. I didn't know he was a famous architect at the time.
What have you done?
Well, see? He didn't seem to mind it much. It's okay.
Don't you understand that Mr. Nagato was just being mature about it? Wait a minute. The fact that he wasn't unkind to Yuzuki after her blunder means there might be a chance. Yuzuki, you don't have any prejudice against Mr. Nagato now, do you? What do you think of him as a man?
Well, he's such a famous person, and he must have a lot of money. I'd practically beg him.
Alright, let's proceed with the marriage proposal.
A marriage proposal? That's a bit sudden.
It's the perfect marriage of convenience for our company, and Yuzuki herself doesn't think he's a bad match. It's a win-win situation.
That may be so, but I wonder if he'll accept.
Don't underestimate my negotiation skills. I've built this company from the ground up. I'll definitely make this marriage proposal happen.
Really? The wife of a top-class architect? I like it. Dad, do your best.
2 months later, Mr. Arakasugi and his daughter visited a certain rural town.
It's cold, even though it's spring. Where is this place? Dad, is this really the designated spot?
Mr. Nagato agreed to the marriage proposal. We have to go wherever he says.
Even so, it doesn't make sense to designate such a rural area as a meeting place.
I wonder why this place too. But don't complain. You have to put up with anything until we are officially married.
I know that. Wow, look at the distant mountains. They're still covered in snow.
They really are. No wonder it's cold. Yuzuki, do you have any connection to this countryside?
Of course not. Do you?
No, I don't think so. But what kind of surprise is Mr. Nagato planning? We've arrived.
Huh? Here? There are a lot of people gathered.
What's all the commotion?
Huh? Everyone's glaring at us. Why? Is it my imagination?
It's not your imagination. The residents of this town have been waiting for the people from Arakasuki Construction. I stepped forward, representing the gathered residents. Welcome. You must be tired from your long journey. Mr. Nagato, what is the meaning of this? Does this scenery look familiar to you? Well, it looks familiar, but I'm not sure. The slope of that mountain over there used to be a thriving ski resort. It certainly was a ski resort, but I don't ski, so I don't really know where. The parts still covered in white snow are where the slopes used to be. Yes, and? Look closely. Do you see anything under the snow? That's... Oh, I remember now. Our company might have installed those. That's right. Thousands of solar panels have been installed on the vast treeless slope. Is there a problem with that? There are many cases where closed ski resorts and golf courses are turned into mega solar farms. There may be some effective reuse examples, but you see, this is a snowy region that's cold even in spring. So what? Cold regions need eco-friendly power. Mega solar is perfect, isn't it? The problem is that the president has such limited knowledge. Snow accumulates and becomes incredibly heavy. Look closely at the panels. What are you trying to say? Yes, they're tilting, because they can't withstand the weight of the snow. Even if they weren't collapsing, they wouldn't function with snow piled on them. Moreover, considering the short daylight hours in this region during winter, it was reckless to build a mega solar farm in the first place. That was the decision of the person in charge at the time. You gave the go-ahead, and don't you forget that there was an employee in your company who strongly opposed this construction. Well, unfortunately, I don't remember that.
There's no way you don't remember.
Madoka, who had been hidden in the crowd, stepped forward, raising her voice. She glared at the president with a sharp look I had never seen before.
President, it's been a while. I'm Mine Madoka. I won't let you say you've forgotten.
You're the mastermind behind this grand performance, dragging even Mr. Nagato in it.
That's right. This is my hometown where I was born and raised. I've known everyone gathered here since we were children. It's a fact that the ski resort, which was the lifeline of this rural town with no tourism, closed down, and everyone was almost left with nothing back then. But I strongly opposed the company's policy because building a mega solar farm on a snowy slope is too dangerous. Do you remember?
Well, did something like that happen?
I appealed directly to you, President, many times, but you wouldn't listen, so I submitted my resignation.
The collapse is just a consequence. It makes no sense for an employee of our company, who stands to profit, to oppose it.
I wouldn't have opposed it if the company had taken full responsibility until the end, but after the installation, you completely abandoned the management to another company. It's too irresponsible to make a huge profit from the installation fee of the solar panels and then pretend you don't know anything about what happens afterward. We could have reforested the former ski resort site and returned it to its natural state, but now we also need to remove the panel equipment. The hurdles have been raised. Moreover, the management company you designated is out of contact and has disappeared. How do you intend to take responsibility for this environmental destruction?
I've thoroughly investigated your company. You're buying up abandoned ski resorts, aren't you? It looks like you're the savior of the struggling snow mountain industry. But in reality, you're buying up mountain slopes cheaply, building mega solar farms, and planning to escape before they collapse, right? No such thing. What evidence do you have? This is troubling. I can't be slandered based on speculation. Madoka and the residents here are witnesses. I'll have the media report on this extensively, and I'm recording this conversation right now. The president visibly flinched and fell silent. The words media and recordings seemed to have hit him hard, and he finally gave up. I apologize for luring him here under the pretense of a marriage proposal, but I needed to show the person involved this disastrous situation.
Oh, wait a minute. The reckless mega solar project here was Dad's decision. It has nothing to do with me, right?
Unfortunately, it's not very convincing, coming from someone who was scheduled to become a director of a mega solar company that pretended to revitalize ski resorts.
You've investigated that much?
Environmental destruction for the sake of profit is unforgivable. Be prepared. Your company will be banned from any work I'm involved in from now on.
No way!
As if realizing the possibility of being excluded from the construction industry, both Yuzuki and her father collapsed to their knees. Later, Arakasugi Construction, which had been reported to have ignored environmental destruction and continued unfair construction practices, fell into a management crisis. They desperately tried to defend themselves, but perhaps due to their past arrogance, no company came to their rescue, and they had to close down their business. Only a large amount of compensation remained, and the father would be chasing after it for the rest of his life. As for the daughter, maybe there's still a chance for her to change her ways. Meanwhile, I was taking pictures of the magnificent cherry blossom trees in full bloom in Madoka's hometown, which had finally reached full bloom in May.
You always take pictures of buildings for study, but today is cherry blossoms, Hiroki.
Madoka-san, no, Madoka and I naturally started dating, and we stopped using honorifics and started calling each other by our first names. I've never seen such beautiful cherry blossom trees before. I want to incorporate these beautiful cherry blossoms into my next architectural design.
Wonderful! Then, so as not to spoil Hiroki's image, I have to work hard to protect this beautiful nature.
New buildings can sometimes destroy the existing nature and the lives of the people who live there. How can we coexist? That's probably not something you can learn from studying. That's right, it's certainly a meritocratic society, but being able to study isn't everything. Rather, because of that, it's easy for a character to remain immature, and shouldn't we place more importance on it?
Yuzuki and her father totally got what they deserved in the end. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.